What's up, everybody? It's AJ with eTrailer.com. Today we're going to be looking at budget bike racks, mid-range bike racks, and high-end bike racks. Bike racks can go from $200 all the way up to $1,000, and a bunch of different features with each different version. So we've worked with a bunch of them, and we want to show you which ones might work for you better than some others. The bike racks we're going to be looking at today are all platform style, so that's what we use to rate the budget. The first category we're going to look at is budget racks. So these are going to range from $300 and under. The one we have here is going to be the Swagman XTC2 Tilt. That's going to represent budget, and some features I want to point out with it is how it holds the bike. We have a center mass that gets in the way when you go to load bikes up, and you have the frame hook. Now it is padded, but it comes down and goes on the frame of your bike. So if you have a carbon fiber style bike, you're not going to want to do that. It might scratch or damage it. If you have lower end bikes, you might not care. It'll still work. Coming down to how it latches in place, it'll ratchet down. You can push this to release it and slide up to get the bike off there. Now it doesn't come with a cable lock, but it has this here so you can add a small padlock to still protect your bike on the rack. Another thing I want to point out is all these pins. So on the budget rack, you're gonna have a lot of pins you have to remove to manipulate the arms or move the center mass down, where when you move to mid-range, that can improve with buttons or levers you can pull. Another thing to look at is what's holding on the tires on the bike is going to be these rubber straps. They work, but you can improve a little bit more when you go up for the other racks. Overall, it really depends on how much you're going to ride. If you only do it a couple times a year, this bike rack's going to be great. It's going to hold the bikes in place. You're not going to worry about much. Now, if you plan on riding weekly or even more than that, I would suggest maybe going into the mid-tier, because it's going to make some features easier if you use it all the time. So it's really, if you're thinking about spending $250 or maybe to $400, I would look at the mid-tier. Now, what do you get with mid-tier? Well, you're going to be looking to spend $300 to $600 in the mid-tier. Representing is going to be the Rockymounts monorail. So already, just looking at it, you see that there's going to be less pins and clips on there to move around when you need to move something on the bike rack. I really like that. I really like the hook that goes on the front tire. That's much better than making any frame contact. So then if you do have a more expensive bike like a carbon fiber, you can still use this bike rack because it's going to hold by the front tire and not the frame. Another thing is you're going to start to get locks when you get to this kind of tier. You're going to get a lock that locks the bike rack to the hitch, and then some sort of cable lock. So they can run that through your bike and lock the bike to the bike rack and the bike to the hitch. Another upgrade you start to see in the mid-tier is going to be the straps that hold the wheels in place. So the back wheels on this one have ratchet straps. You usually get away from the rubber straps that they work but can stretch out over time. Another thing is these bike racks get opened up to heavier bikes. So fat tire bikes, sometimes you need an adapter, or even e-bikes are going to fit better and be allowed to use on these style bike racks, because you don't really want to invest in an e-bike and then put it on a budget rack and not be sure it's going to stay. So is it worth it? I'm a little bit biased because I like the mid-tier. I have the monorail myself, so those bike racks have just the right features for me. They're not as budget as those racks are. They don't have the pins and clips that annoy me or the center mass. They have the features that I don't need a lot of extra to manipulate the rack. It tilts away really easily. It's got locks on there to lock my bike. Those are things I'm looking for. And a lot of them, if you buy a 2-bike rack, have some add-on that you can add on 2 more. So if you just want to start with a 2-bike rack and maybe you want to move on to a 4, you can do that in time and not have to buy a whole new setup. Now let's look at the higher end bike racks. So these are going to be in a price range of $600 or more. And we have the Kuat Piston Pro X behind me. This is going to represent the higher end bike racks. And with this, you're going to see that you got the dual wheel holding design, holds the front and rear tire. There's no center mass, no frame contact. You also get a bunch of other bells and whistles with this style bike rack. You've got lights on there, integrated cable locks sometimes, and even tools that are integrated into the rack. So is it worth it? Well, it depends. The higher end ones do look a lot nicer. So if you're looking for a bike rack that looks cool, it definitely looks cool. Now, you're also going to find bike racks that are like more 4-bike racks in this range, so it's going to be a little pricey to get 4 bikes. But there's some things, in my opinion, you just don't need. I don't really need lights on my bike rack, and the pistons, as cool as they are, don't really need them to load up my bike. I like my mid-tier where everything works the way I need it to when I want to load a bike, and it's fast and easy. Overall, that's going to be our look at the 3 different types of bike racks, from budget-friendly, mid-tier, and higher end. Let us know what you think in the comments. Which one did you like? And thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to see some more, you can click right here. If you want to see the product we looked at, you can click right over here. If you want to check out a playlist of a bunch of our videos. It's right there. And then if you want to subscribe, you can check out some reviews and installs.